What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at the Hiboy EX6 fat tire e-bike. Taking a look at the specs, this has a 500 watt motor, a 48 volt 15 amp hour battery, 20 by 4 inch fat tires, mechanical brakes, a Shimano 7-speed shifter, and a front fork suspension. So taking a look at the bike itself, this is definitely a very minimalistic design. Everything is just all black and there's not really much going on, but overall it's just a nice and casual looking bike. The seat does flip up on this bike, which makes the battery very easy to insert or remove. With this bike, you also get some extra security as it does not start unless you have the key in the battery and switch it to the on position. Alright, so starting off my review as usual, no motor. It's not the best rolling resistance, but it's also not the worst. I mean, it's pedalable on gear 2, but once I shift up to gear 3, that's when you really start feeling it. So in my opinion, this bike will be best used with motor all the time. In case you don't know why I'm saying that, there's some e-bikes that are very well, in case you don't know why I'm saying that, there's some e-bikes that have very little rolling resistance, even though they're e-bike. So if you wanted to, you could pedal them no problem at all, even without the motor helping you. So off the bat, I hate these handlebars. Nothing personal to this bike, but I've never liked swoop back handlebars. They just end up a really odd riding style, especially if you're taller, you have longer arms, you just kind of feel cramped. I much prefer to have my hands over here with straight bars, but over here it kind of just pushes your elbows in at your sides, and I just don't like how turning feels on it. I've just never been a fan of these handlebars. Fortunately, that is something you can easily switch out. I'm sure you can buy straight handlebars for 30 bucks, maybe even less. I'm not sure, I haven't tried buying bars yet, but definitely a very easy swap if you wanted to have this straight instead. I do like that they include the adjustable stem though. Right now I have it kind of straight up as I am taller. But if you're a shorter rider, if you prefer a more forward riding style, you can put that lower as well. For a budget e-bike, I do like that this has a horn. Usually with cheaper bikes, you don't get a built-in horn, but this one you have a nice electronic horn that comes with the bike. Then you also have a dedicated light button, which is also something nice to see. A lot of these bikes you have to hold down the plus button, and it's just much easier when you have a button like this, so I appreciate that as well. Not the worst cable management. They do have some management here at the top, but it's kind of a spaghetti at the middle, so I would have liked to see if they use these wire covers all the way down instead of only up here and at the bottom. But not the worst, not the best either. I've had some bikes where they straight up left everything hanging out like loose spaghetti, and you had to manage it yourself. But this one, they did it about 60-70% of the way. So wire management, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. All right, pedal assist 1. Pedal assist 1 looks like 12.3 miles per hour. Pedal assist 2. 13.9. The brakes are mechanical brakes. We'll try those out in a little bit, but right now they don't feel that great, but they also don't feel that bad. So it kind of feels like that's the general theme of this bike. Not great, not bad. It's just good enough, I guess. All right, so about 13.8 or so on pedal assist 2. Let's go ahead and try out pedal assist 3. Or mode 3 as it's called on this bike. Definitely some ghost pedaling going on at 17 miles per hour though. You don't have too high of a pedal radius. This is a pretty small bike. So if you're someone shorter, you might be okay. But personally, I'm losing traction at that 16, 17 miles per hour mark. All right, switch it up to number 4. Definitely very little traction at this point, but we'll keep going. 20 miles per hour. Number 5. Oh, we ran out of space. Can't try number 5. Number 5. Ghost pedaling a lot at this point. See if I really push it. 24.5, and I am exhausted, so maybe if you push it just a little more, you might be able to get 26 or 26.5, but for me, that's all I'm gonna be able to get. All right, let's try out these brakes. Yeah, like I thought, not the best, also not the worst. I mean, it's nice and adequate. You get a smooth stop, but it's definitely not going to be skidding any tires. So in an emergency situation, you might be screwed. You might end up hitting the car. But as long as you don't end up in that emergency stop needed situation, it should be okay. Again, not great, not bad, just good enough. Suspension doesn't feel that bad either. Soaking up the bumps in the front pretty well. There's no suspension on the back, so you do feel the bumps in the back. So if you get this bike, I definitely recommend getting a C-post suspension. That should make it a lot more smooth to ride. Decent one's about $100. All right, so throttle only, it looks like we're getting 22 miles per hour. Let me go a little more. Come on, bike, give me 23. Nah, looks like it's stopping about that 22. It didn't feel like the motor was giving it up. It just felt like that's all it had. Not bad. Again, not bad, not great. Like I said, it's the ongoing theme of this bike. But considering it's only $1,000, it's definitely not bad at all. Definitely a good option for someone that wants to get into the e-bike world, but doesn't want to spend an arm and a leg, but they also don't want to go very fast either. If you're an old person, or just in general a guy or girl that doesn't like to go beyond 15, 16 miles per hour most of the time, this would definitely be a great bike. Ugh. Fly just went into my nose. That wasn't great. But yeah, for the price, for its category, it's definitely a decent bike. I've seen a lot worse, especially for $1,000. If you go on Amazon and you look and filter it by price and look at what's $1,000, there's some pretty bad bikes out there. There's some pretty bad and generic looking bikes that look like they bought a frame from Walmart and slapped the battery on there and a motor, and then they call it an e-bike. But this is pretty decent in comparison to what you'll get normally around this price. I was trying to play with the screen just now to see if I can unlock it to go a little faster, but I haven't played with this controller before. It's the first time I use this controller on any e-bike, so I couldn't figure out the combination to see if there was a way. I did get into the settings, but it was just more basic settings and nothing about the speed, so that was a bit unfortunate. I realize now I have a little under about halfway battery. When I got the bike, it said full bars on the battery, so I assumed it was charged all the way, but I guess that wasn't accurate. So maybe with a full battery, you might be able to get 23, 24 out of this bike, which is not bad. Again, not bad, not great, but good enough for that $1,000 mark. If this costed more than $1,000, it definitely would have been horrible and not worth it. But at $1,000, definitely decent. All right, well, that about wraps up this video. As usual, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.